morning. Good morning and welcome to this annual meeting of the Royal Oaks trustees and the residents of Royal Oaks. You want louder? Nada, could we have a little more louder, please? A little more volume. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that better? All right. I've been informed that next year we're going to have a new podium, so maybe we won't have to go through this exercise next time. But there'll be more about that later. I'm not going to steal somebody else's thunder on this. So anyway, good morning and welcome to our annual meeting with the Board of Trustees and the residents. We're grateful for those of you that could be here in person, and we welcome those who are watching on our in-house TV channel. My name is Dick Jorgensen, and I'm the current chair of the Board of Trustees. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the Reverend Gary Benson, who's one of our trustees, and he'll open the meeting with an invocation.
Is that lightning and thunder? Well, before I pray, I have something to say. Is that okay? It was really interesting when I came in today. With the situation with the grill, I remember 15 years ago walking in, and they were just building the grill. So time goes on, change is good, and that's right, I'm not supposed to touch that. Kendra told me that too. Oh, now. That'll work better. I really like karaoke. Can we go there? But I wanted to just say, because I've been around here a long time, I just wanted to say and recognize the staff. I was thinking about the staff last night, and I'm thinking about three words: dedication that you've shown for so long and consistently, resilience that you've shared over the, COVID. That was unbelievable for the staff as well as residents, but also vision. The vision of the leadership team has been totally outstanding. It's an honor to be on the board to in a sense, watch it happen and to see how they deliberate and seek to move this place forward. Nobody likes a stagnant pond, but this is a fresh flowing stream all the time, and that's awesome, and I know you want me to pray and get out of here. Okay, so here we go. Creator God, you are the giver of life, breath, and every good. Today as we gather, we give thanks for Royal Oaks, its residents, staff, volunteers, and all that make this place a place called home for many. Furthermore, we especially lift up Inspirada Point and all that means in terms of enlarging, enhancing, and enriching this community. With the ongoing vision and dedication of the Royal Oaks leadership team and staff and the collaboration with residents, we pray that this community will continue to thrive in the future as it has in the past. Bless now this gathering. May it be a time of grateful satisfaction of all that has been and confidence in all that will be. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Benson. Is this better if I use this microphone? Okay. Okay. Our bylaws allow for 16 trustees. Three of the trustees are residents here at Royal Oaks. And so I'm going to introduce the trustees and the board officers now. So I'd ask them to stand as I call their name. First is Lewis Johnson. Lewis is the vice chair of the board. Janice Ryan. Janice Ryan is the treasurer. Mary Beth Joblanc is the secretary. Claudia Rumwell. Claudia is one of our resident trustees. Dr. Eugene Stevens, and I don't believe he's here today. Howard Pock. Howard is one of our trustees and the chair of the facilities committee. Bill Gasta. Bill Gasta is a resident and one of our trustees, and he's involved also with facilities committee. Andrew Lennox is another one of the trustees, and he couldn't make it today apparently. Tucker Macon is a really interesting person from Sun Construction who's a member of our Board of Trustees. Will Richard, who also can't be here today. Ellen Dean, John Walter is here. John is a relatively new member of the Board of Trustees and a very valuable resource. And we already met Reverend Gary Benson. So while the board provides governance and oversight, the people who really make this organization into what it is, as really described by Pastor Benson, is the management team. And I'd like to ask Kendra to come up and introduce the management team.
But don't touch the microphone. Don't touch. I'll just talk right here. So if I could have our leadership team come up and we'll introduce them. I think we're just missing one person today. Dina's not. Is Mark not here? Mark's on his way. Oh, I'll save Mark for last. You can just come right here. Yeah, because I wanted to make sure and mention Mark to everybody and a little bit about Mark. But we'll start over here. Janet Adams is our HR director. Janet will be coming to the spring area meetings with me, so you'll hear more from her if you come to your spring area meeting. Gretchen Cobb, our chief operating officer. Darren Young, our facilities director. Carrie Dixon, our marketing director. Chris Dressel is our soon-to-be food service director, taking Mark's place. Carrie Alt-Gilbers, our IT director, and then Carter Smitherman, our chief financial officer. And I did want to mention Mark is a Morrison employee, and he's been with Royal Oak 16 years. And we call Mark the food dude. And it's been so great to have Mark on our team. And oh, he's running. There he is. He's coming in. We'll wait for him. Let's give him a big round of applause when he comes in. But I hope you come to his retirement dance party on May 25th. Mark loves to dance. And so we're having a retirement dance party for him on the 25th. And you'll get more information about that. But we're delighted that Chris will be taking his place, and then we'll be looking for someone to fill Chris's place. But I did want to especially acknowledge Mark and his time at Royal Oaks. There he is. Yay, Mark! And so, of course, Mark, the food dude. Yeah, how many, let's see, today's the first, so you've got 25 more days, Mark, right? And so for those of you that are new to Royal Oaks, I think it's always good to put a name with a face so that you know who the leadership team, who everybody is. Their names and pictures are also up on the portal, so that's a good way to get to know them and to remind you who they are. So thank you very much, and let's give them all a round of applause.
Thank you, Kendra. This past year has been a busy and productive one for Royal Oaks. The most visible thing is the construction of the new facility, Inspirada Point. And while construction is ongoing, we're very much delighted to have the new people moving in and getting a chance to have a whole bunch of new friends. Judy and I have been involved with the ROC program. I don't know how many of you are involved with that, the Royal Oaks Contact. And so we've gotten to meet 3 new people that moved into Inspirada Point. So if you're interested in that, I would suggest contacting either Karen Bell or Claudia Rumwell. And it's a very nice way to get to know people. The mission of Royal Oaks, in part, is to promote gracious and purposeful living in a vibrant environment and being fiscally responsible. And these are just a few key words that I think all members of the trustees Board of Trustees keep in mind, because it contributes to what's commonly called the Royal Oaks culture. And as the longer you're here, the more you understand what the culture is about. And we're just considered very lucky to have it. The meeting today is to inform you of the work of our organization for the past year. We operate under the committee system, so the chair of the various committees will be offering their report. And I'd like to introduce, first of all, Janice Ryan. As I mentioned, Janice is our treasurer, and she's also the chair of the Finance Committee and the Audit Committee.
Good morning. On the finance committee at Royal Oaks, some of the duties that we the things that we do is we review the financial statements for Royal Oaks. We also review and recommend for board action anything involving finances that come from other committees. And most of what happens for those are usually in the capital budget. That's where we oftentimes end up making some adjustments during the year, and that happens oftentimes because of surprises, when something might break down that we didn't anticipate, and so we're always juggling priorities here to keep the financials sound for Royal Oaks. We also review, we have tax exempt bonds, and we review our bond covenants, and I'm happy to report we've always excelled in that area. We have never come even close to having a problem meeting the bond covenants. We're well ahead in that area. We also review the investment portfolio, and of course, this year has been particularly tough on investments, as I'm sure everyone knows, because everyone's in the same boat. We've all experienced this big downturn, but the thing to keep in mind is that we are always investing for the long term, and even after a really terrible year in the market, our annualized, since inception, annualized return is 7.6%. So, we try to keep it in that range, and so and as a result, it's fairly aggressive. So, but that's one of the things we look at. We also are kind of in charge of the audited financial statements. We're not really in charge, so to speak, but we work with answering any questions that the auditors might have of us on the finance committee. They also work closely with management, and we've been very fortunate that our CFO, Carter, has been excellent with handling all of the financials. I don't think there's been a year where we've had a problem or I think they've always been clean, our audit reports. As long as I've been here, they've been clean reports. And one of the biggest challenges we've had in the past year has been the beginning of the opening of Inspirada Point, and it's an ongoing work in progress, but there are a lot of technicalities with financial statements as to how to account for the buildings that are opening and the buildings that haven't opened yet up to people. So that's been, I think, one of the bigger challenges with the financials, even overall. But we look forward to, once everything's up and running at Inspirada Point, that project should make a huge difference to our operating margin, which we're always looking at and trying to improve. And so we're excited about what's coming up, but we're not there yet. And so we've got a little ways to go. But I want to thank all the members that are on the Finance Committee, which are Mark Woodfield, Will Richard, Roger McLean, Ellen Dean, John Walter, John Saliba, and Teresa Hare. And especially want to thank Carter for keeping us all on track. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Next, I'd like to call on Claudia Rumwell, who, as I mentioned, is also a resident. I feel like I'm getting feedback here. And Claudia chairs the Health Services Committee.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So I always like to say this because it's true. Am I blessed or what? Being a part of this committee and the members that are on it is it's just wonderful. And I've learned so much. And Dina Kapik, who is the director of the Health and now what's called Residential Services Committee, there couldn't be anybody better as far as I'm concerned. And I've been a nurse for over 50 years, so I've seen them all. So she does a great job. But I want to let you know who's the resident members of the committee. Roger Pennicky Ann Jones, and Jean McPherson. And then the community members are Dr. Eugene Stevens, Mary Beth, always want to call her Mary Jo, but Mary Beth Joe Blanc, Andrew Lennick, Misty Pagan, and Laura Hanson. All right, so exciting times. I want you to hold on to your hats because I have 10 things I need to tell you, and I think I can get it done in under 7 minutes. I've been practicing at home. Okay, number 1 is the Vita Center. Hopefully, Dina has helped me with some of these dates and also. Hopefully August 1st for services. You might ask, well, what services? Well, obviously Summit Healthcare, which includes occupational therapy, physical therapy, and then the therapy pool. So doctor's orders are required for the therapy pool, but that's going to be a fantastic plus over there. As for the other specialty providers, they'll be in primary care, dermatology, chiropractic. What we have now will be moving over there, plus they're working with other specialty providers to get them included. Wellness Center number 2, Rebecca and Bobby RNs. They are amazing. They really are. And Terry is the medical assistant. You maybe often talk to her at the front desk. What I like about them is they provide care management, which means pre and post hospital discharge. So if you're going in the hospital, you want to talk to them because then they work with the discharge planner at the hospital to get you back here and see what's needed. But what I also like is they do wound care, they do other services ordered by a doctor, and they will also give you education about new diagnoses. If you're thinking about a higher level of care, talk to them. If you just talk out loud to someone who is willing to listen, it really makes a big difference. So don't be afraid to talk about maybe if you need to move to a higher level of care, or maybe a friend of yours does or a spouse does. Here's a stat I think you'll enjoy. They completed 114 life care assessments in 2022, and they've already done 30 life care assessments first quarter of this year, so they're busy. I always want to put a plug in for the Resident Health Services Guide. It's on the portal. It's updated every year. It's also, if you want it in paper, you can get it from the Wellness Center. Why? This is my little statement. Read it before you need it, because there's so much information in there about the hospital, about what you need to do, if you need this or that. I mean, it's just full of information. So that is really an important tool. Number 3, we have a new social worker, Kelly Yaros. Maybe you've seen some of the information about her, but she'll be working with the Wellness Center nurses to provide support and resources to us independent residents. And here's an example. She'll help promote emotional support for residents, navigating life challenges such as loss of independence, health challenges, grief, just to name a few. Number 4, Wellness Center remodel. Oh boy, they're excited about this. Once the providers move to the Vita Center, then the modifications will begin. The security manager and the social worker will have offices there, which will make them more accessible to you and more visible. One thing that has to happen, however, is we have to apply for a license through the Department of Medical Licensing, through DHS. We have to seek approval from them to enlarge the existing wellness center so that we can have additional treatment and nurse consult spaces. So, it just takes time for that to go through, but that's just so you know what's happening. Number 5, fitness center. You may not know this, but Wendy applied for an award for our fitness program. And she applied for it through the International Council on Active Aging, and Royal Oaks was awarded the Beacon Award for Best in Wellness. And this is given to the top 25 senior communities in North America. So I think that's really great. When you see Wendy, I guess this application was like, this much paper. So tell her, that's congratulations for doing that. And I think that's just terrific. And are they busy over there or what? They average 1,900 check-ins each month in the fitness center. Oh my gosh, you guys are all I think a lot of people participate over there, but there could even be more, including me. Okay, number 6, new in the fitness center, aquatic instructor. Many of you may know about her. Her name's April. She started in February. Dina refers to April and Wendy as the dynamic duo for all things fitness and fun. Now, there's another new service over there called Facial Services by Gifted Hands Spa. It just started, and guys, you can set up an appointment too. In fact, some of you should. Okay, number 7. Security, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Okay, security and EMT department. It's now part of the Health and Residential Services. So Mark Chambers is the new manager. Get this, he has 15 years experience as a firefighter, paramedic, and captain, and he continues part-time with that so he doesn't lose his experience and his ability to retain his skills. He's looking for areas to enhance and improve in the way of safety and security. Here's one example of what he got implemented and Dina approved, and in fact, the foundation is a big part of it. The EMTs will each attend a security training class. I think it's 6 weeks, something like that, and it'll be paid for by the scholarship fund from the People of Faith Foundation. See how we use our money from the People of Faith Foundation to help educate our staff. I think it's great. Number 8 is resident volunteers in health services. There's always room for more. But the first one to talk about is in the Friendship House in memory care. It's called Friends Helping Friends. It's led by Shirley Gill. And last year, they contributed 1,765 volunteer hours in her group to the Friendship House, which I think is fantastic. They have what's called a Music and Memories program, which now has been set up for a monthly in the care center. So that's an option for you if you're interested. Talk to Shirley Gill. The second one is hospice volunteers. And I know this just takes particular people who have a heart for this, but you may. And I want you to talk to Valerie Erickson, who is the Royal Oaks resident coordinator for this. Okay, and she works with the Summit Healthcare folks, but she's the one to talk to. And new this year is called Two's Company. And it's called Two's Company, and they're volunteers in the care center. And there's currently 16 of us that contribute at least an hour a week, if not more, to resident visits. Karen Schramm, the activities director, lets us know there's a list of several residents who don't get visits much anymore because they've outlived their friends, they've outlived their family members and all. So we talk to them for sure, but we also talk to other residents there as well. So if you're interested in that, just contact me. And then number 9, see, we're almost there. Midwestern Dental Clinic. First floor of Illingworth, or Eleganta Point Apartments, has its own outside entrance. To those that are new here, you might think, well, why is she saying that? Well, because during the virus, they were all inside and we couldn't use them. They had to close up. Now, if the virus came back, which I hope not, you just come through the outside door and it'll still stay open. So it's pretty cool. If you don't have a dentist or your dentist retired, I highly recommend Dr. Cyphers and his senior students. They're fantastic. Mel and I, when we moved from Oregon, we had no one. So we went there and we've been there ever since, and one of the best decisions we made. Number 10, they're not in any order here, they're all important. But Dina gave me some info about those who have utilized the scholarship program through the People of Faith. So she's very proud of 2 caregivers becoming LPNs this year. Vanjie Harris, she started with RO in 15. She became an LPN in 2022, and she's now working full-time in memory care. Thania Gallegos began in, get this, food services in 16, became a caregiver in 17, and now is a new LPN in the care center as of March of this year. Isn't that just fantastic how these kids, these staff, people, wherever their heart is, they can just move up and move towards that while they're here at Royal Oaks. Rebecca in the Wellness Center will complete her Master of Science in Nursing next year in May. Bobby Van Houten, RN in Wellness Center, completes her certification in case management August of this year and her BSN next year. I mean, isn't that fantastic that we can help from the foundation, that we can help our staff better themselves, which actually helps us too. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope you still have your hats on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudia. Next, I'd like to ask Howard Pock to come up. Howard is the chair of the Facilities Committee.
Thank you, Dick. It's definitely a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and good morning to all. I got to tell you, first of all, I just had eye surgery, and you know they don't have glasses that go with the surgery, so I'm looking out of one lens. So if something doesn't sound right, I'll try to correct it. Anyway, it's been a really pleasure working with the board and facilities committee here in Royal Oaks, especially with this new, that place down here called Inspirada. That put a lot of work onto them. 16-point villas have been put into place and 41 apartments and complex in there. One of the things that we've got to say is we're extremely proud. Am I echoing here? We got to be extremely proud of our facilities management team and the people that work with them. They are very, very professional, and they do the job because they love being here and they love working with you folks. The accomplishments over this past 2022 year have been really astounding. One of them is a computer system that he's put into place for work order systems. It's spelled WORXHUB. And this system does things that you just can't imagine. I hope it continues to work well. Warehouse inventory, space management, scheduling, maintenance, and prevention. When you're doing maintenance, you're doing preventative maintenance and also management of repairs that just happen. Refurbishing, tracking, and the number of days and the cost for the refurbishing. That's a key, knowing all that. We look at the electric vehicles, tracking average number of days, landscaping, and scheduling, and the management of the landscaping have done a terrific job of keeping everything moving around here, so we give them a great kudos. Refurbishing, 96 average days, 37 out of 96 apartments, 37 average days. I said that correctly, looking at it halfway. And then we got transportation, 3,123 trips they've made. Moving along, the capital budget has been $1,358,000. We're talking about working on a no-key situation throughout this facility, I think it is. And is it a card? A little lost. So these things here are going to benefit you residents tremendously. The auditorium. Now, I'd hesitate to mention what's happened here after hearing about this thing. But, they redid the floor so that additional heating loops have been put into it. And it says here, improved sound system. Well, I think you can hear me fine here, but this one's having some problems, so that'll work. All right, replacement of the fence in the north and the 99 side, they did all of that work. Fire panel upgrades, that's a key. I spent 22 years as a firefighter, and I like to see everybody safe and have the right kind of systems. Automated door replacements, and I think that's complete, isn't it? Yeah, complete. And then you got your irrigation piping. That's been one that's been talked about for years and years, and went through and they changed that piping so you're saving water. How many of you keep on hearing where's the water coming from? Saving water is a key. Looking at various equipment purchases, it's got a skid steer and a powered washer which goes around to places, and you've got maintenance drain equipment. That did quite a bit of maintenance problems. In any drain, any kind of facility that can get plugged up is always a nightmare, and you residents have got to know that these people are on top of all that, doing a good job with it. Got a brand new 14-passenger van, and then new golf cart fleet, the maintenance, the refurbishing, and the electric vehicles and food service are the ones that use these golf carts. So you see them all around the compound here. Continuing education for the staff members, and I've heard this mentioned by the previous speakers and stuff. That is a key because it benefits all of you residents as well as that person who's getting the education. When you talk about this, Rebecca is refurbishing coordinator, and she is going for her facilities management professional in progress right now, so she's still working for it. Mike Meadows, he's doing the same, and he's going for that is now in progress. Greg, and I can't pronounce his last name. Jarzovec, Greg Jarzovec, refurbishing supervisor. He completed his. He will be the facilities manager professional. And then your wonderful, wonderful leader, Darren, he's got a fantastic certified facilities management. Congratulations. Okay, that benefits you now. I love this statement right here. The statement is, education empowers individuals to gain and develop their talents. That benefits both the individual and Royal Oaks. Key on there. Okay, now we'll talk about the team. They're a wonderful can-do team. They put together a lot of great stuff, and they maintain the focus in those places, the Inspirata Point, for a smooth transition to complete the whole project. So thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure being part of this organization.
Thank you, Howard. Next, I'd like to ask Louis Johnson to come up. He's the chair of the Marketing and Public Relations Committee.
Thank you very much, Dick. I'm going to try not to touch stuff I'm not supposed to touch while still being able to move, so just forgive me on that for a moment. It's kind of funny. First of all, I really want to thank all the board members and committee members. I enjoy being with you and working through things with you. We have a lot of interesting discussions, and as residents, I think it's important to know that the people that are on the board and that are part of the committee care so much about Royal Oaks. It's not quantifiable, and that's the truth. Also, it's interesting having been on the marketing committee for a while. When we first came in, when I first started being part of that, there was some occupancy challenges and some other things like that. And it was really funny today because I was talking to Carrie and I'm like, hey, is there any other numbers I need to know about? What's going on? Anything you want me to highlight? How are we doing? She's like, well, we're doing great. I'm like, cool. So how great are we doing? Well, we're doing really great. I'm like, I mean, that kind of sums it up. Because in the past we've talked about one-butt kitchens, and we have too many of this model and that model, but they've done such a great job. IP is 6 weeks ahead of schedule. The biggest challenges we're having isn't necessarily bringing people in; it's being able to refurnish apartments fast enough to be able to get them, occupied. So if somebody rents one out in January and it takes till May, those are just logistical issues. I will say that a lot of what we do in the marketing committee is just we get a chance to discuss concept and ideas to try and help generate new and unique things and come up with strategies that otherwise we wouldn't be able to. This team, I can't tell you how awesome they are. It's a pleasure to be part of working with them, but I asked Carrie to highlight a couple of things, so I'm gonna read that to you here. All right. Before I do, I wanna say the number one most important marketing people are you guys as residents. I was thinking about this, sorry, I'm trying not to get too off topic. The world is going to hell in a handbasket faster than it can possibly, it's amazing day to day, the things that pop up, right? And it is so scary outside of this area. Every time I come to Royal Oaks, I feel so comforted and so thankful to be around you guys because you guys did a lot of amazing things in your life. You guys are good quality human beings. You care about each other. It's truly a community. My role in the real world is to help people find places to live, okay? I'm a senior living advisor. I help people find appropriate places to live. That's what I do. Of all the buildings that I work with in all the valley, you guys, this building is the best. And that's not hyperbole. That's not nothing. That's the truth. It is run the best. Feels the best. This is a great, great place to be. And those of you who live here, you know that. You have managers who are accessible, who are willing to talk to you, who have worked their way up. It's not even close. So because of that, people feel that when they come here, and they want to be a part of that. I like being a part of that, even though I don't live here. My wife wants to live here at some point, but I'm a couple years away from that, hopefully. But anyway, it starts with you, and people feel that. They love you, we love you, and thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for all your efforts that you've done in your life to provide an environment. We're all here because of you, so thank you. And because of that, it makes their job easy. easier. And this is, like I said, it's just awesome because there's so many challenges we've faced over the years, and everyone on the team has handled it with class. And it's kind of nice because being on the committee, we get asked questions, and the management team always supports the committee. It's a very beautiful situation. And if we need to make an adjustment on the fly, the marketing team will ask the committee and the board, and we work together to make it quick and as seamless as possible. And I know it's that way in every single committee as well, so major kudos there. Okay, as far as the team goes, we'll start with Heather Robeson, who I've known for a long time, super sweet lady. She's been here, as you guys know, for ages, right? She is currently the resident counselor specialist. She also facilitates all the independent living move-ins and transfers. From contract signing to the day of move-in, Heather is their go-to person. So every little nitpicking thing that they need or want, that's her responsibility. She's taken on this new role, and since she's moved in 24 new residents at Inspirada Point and has had 22 sales from April of last year to April of this year, which is an awesome job. So thank you so much, Heather. Then we have Kirsten Talano. She's new. She moved from the personalization specialist to residency counselor. While she's been in her position for less than a year, she's made 10 sales. So that's pretty outstanding. And she's doing awesome, and she's a fit and a natural. Sherry Federico, whom I've known from a previous environment, super awesome lady as well. She moved from catering manager to residency counselor. She will go above and beyond to help a prospect get the information they need. Her expertise in catering has helped our team so much. Event setup, she's made 8 sales since her start in September of 22. Like, all these sales are piling up. So great job, guys. Okay. Carrie Lopez, top salesperson. She has had 33 sales in the last year. So major, let's give her a round of applause. That's phenomenal. Great job, Carrie. It's going to get just a touch better, which is really cool. All right. Iracema Celias is the marketing coordinator. She is the glue that holds them together. She keeps up with the social media posts, RSVPs for events, depositor events, works with the valet, the caterers, etc. Ermesina won Greystone's award for Move-In Coordinator of the Year, and that's huge because Greystone handles a lot of properties. So we have someone who is the Marketing Coordinator of the Year. She totally 100% and deserves that honor. So way to go, Iracema, and yes. Anytime you're something of the year like that, that's cool, because I've been something of the year and it's usually not positive. But that's it for the marketing committee. Thank you. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to ask. We thank you guys for just being great people and making Royal Oaks be in the heart of Royal Oaks and just allowing us to be a part of it. God bless you all. I tried not to touch what I wasn't.
Okay. Thank you, Louis. Thanks. The next committee is a committee that doesn't receive a lot of attention, but it's a very important, critical committee. It's called the Board Development Committee, and the chair of the Board Development Committee is our own Kendra Eberhardt.
And don't touch the microphone. We'll all have that down pat by the time we're done here. Okay, the Board Development Committee consists of Dick Jorgensen, Claudia Rumwell, Andrew Lennick, and Mary Beth JeBlanc, and myself. And our job is quite interesting in that we have a number of duties that come upon us mostly in April of every year to get ready for the May 1st annual meeting. So today, when this meeting is done, the Board of Trustees will hold their annual meeting. And this is when the new slate of officers is formally introduced, and then any new board members that are coming on the board. We also are responsible to find candidates for the board committees, board education, board orientation, and we do a board self-assessment. This year, the officers that have been nominated and elected are Louis Johnson is going to be the new board chair. Claudia will be the vice chair of the board. Janice Ryan is serving as the treasurer, and then Mary Beth JeBlanc as the secretary. And so this is Dick's last meeting. He goes off the board. He's been term limited out, and they can serve 8 years. It's been a short 8 years, Dick. But I just wanted to thank Dick for his service, for his leadership, and for this is all volunteers. The board members don't get paid. They do get a meal when they come to a board meeting. But I especially want to thank Dick, and then also Howard Pock is going off the board this year. He has served, Howard, you've served for like 12 years because he was on the board for 8 and then went off and came back on. So we appreciate your service too, Howard. So thank you. And then each board committee is chaired by a trustees, and members include residents, people from the community, and other trustees. We're always looking for residents who might want to join the committee, and so if you might be interested, you could let me know. We look for residents who have a background in healthcare, finance, engineering, architecture, marketing, facilities. Those are all areas that are helpful to us. And as I said, if you do have an interest, you can reach out to me and we can talk about that. Board education is another really important function of the board. We provide educational opportunities to the board, and it's vital to keep them informed of trends that are going on in and how our business is changing and what's happening in the senior living field. We also have opportunities for board members to attend conferences in different parts of the country, and so they do go to some of those from time to time. There's a time set aside at the board meetings for education, and we typically will have our attorney will come and speak. We'll have our bankers maybe come and join us, insurance brokers, other experts and consultants in our fields will join us at our board meeting. Lastly, the board does a self-assessment, and we do that every few years, and that's to determine if they're fulfilling their roles and responsibilities as board members. And it gives the board chair good insight into how things might be improved and if there's things that we might need to pay particular attention. I am so grateful, and I know everyone is grateful for the dedication of the Board of Trustees, the new committee members, and the volunteers who spend hundreds and hundreds of hours to volunteer their time. The other thing that will happen at our board meeting today is we will welcome a new board member who will be taking Dick's place, not as chair, but as a board member, and that's Roger McLean. So we're happy that Roger has agreed to serve on the Board of Trustees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kendra, very much. One final committee is the executive committee. So my role as the chair is, as the chair of the board, is to conduct various meetings, and one of them being the executive committee. And as you might expect, the executive committee is made up of the 4 officers of the Board of Trustees: the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, and the treasurer. We do several different things. We take care of the routine business of the board in between board meetings. The board meets officially just quarterly, so the executive committee is on call for less important decisions that have to be made at the board level. So we do that. But one of the really important tasks we do have is the evaluation of our CEO and president. And during this evaluation, we review the progress and achievements of individual and group goals and objectives set the previous year and approve the goals and objectives for the oncoming year. So that's the end of the committee reports. The next person I'd like to introduce probably needs no introduction, but it's be informal, or it would be wrong to do it not to introduce her. So Janice Daniels is the president of the People of Faith Foundation and has a report for us.
Thank you very much, Dick, and I'm going to try my best to not make noises also. I want to begin by saying that, yes, I am truly honored and blessed to serve on our People of Faith Foundation Board of Directors. Now, a lot of you know me, know that I can tend to go on and on and on. So I want to make sure I don't go over, so if someone will remind me when my hour is up. Before telling you about the foundation history, I do want to it's important to mention last week's party, when we painted the campus red in order to celebrate Royal Oaks' 40th anniversary. And what a great party it was. And I want to personally thank Chuck Tholen, the Foundation Director of Development. Chuck, you're here. He's right back there. For planning and putting together such a fun fundraising event. And I have to tell you, our resident feedback has been very positive. Also, so important to tell you, our personal thanks for your donations to the foundation. Now, it's important to give you a brief history of our foundation. Our foundation was started in 1983, shortly after Royal Oaks welcomed their very first resident. So we too are celebrating 40 years. Now, what's important for you to know, and we stress this all the time, and that's to know what our mission statement says. Our mission statement has not changed in 40 years. Yeah, you heard me right. It hasn't changed in 40 years, and it has two priorities, and I'll want to read those to you. The People of Faith Foundation mission statement is to provide financial assistance to residents who can no longer meet their residency obligations and support other enhancements that improve the quality of life for residents and staff. Those two things, and we take them very seriously. Now, our People of Faith Foundation is a 501c3 tax-exempt qualified charitable organization. What does that mean? It means your donations are tax deductible. Now, the foundation is governed by a board of directors, separate from the board of trustees, but important to know that we support the board of trustees. Now, the foundation has 10 board members. All 10 may be from the community, but we cannot have more than 4 Royal Oaks residents on the board at one time. Currently, we do have 4 Royal Oaks residents and 6 community. Each director serves 3 terms. They may serve 3 terms at 3 years each. I'd like to tell you now and read off quickly who our board members are. Our current resident board members are Bruce Burnside, John Radke, Fred Yates, and myself. Community board members are Linnea Carroll, Glenna Hale, Pamela Linhart, Andrew Linick, Ross Parrott, and Mark Woodfield. And now this to me is very important. Obviously, all of our board members are successful, they're intelligent, but you know what stands out to me for all of them is their caring hearts. And yeah, you heard me right. Because you see, it's our board members that vote on the great and various projects that we have that enhance the lives of residents and staff. And why do they do that? Because they care. And I mean that sincerely and thank them. Now, as I said in our mission statement, obviously number 1 is we take very seriously the foundation will fund some resident who can no longer, through no fault of their own, pay their residency fees. Secondly, we take very seriously that whatever we do fund, that it will benefit the employees or the staff in Royal Oaks, okay? That's where our philanthropy program comes in. We have exciting projects that fit that requirement. Some of those projects are, and I'm not going to go into all the detail because you're familiar with a lot of them, but the Midwestern Dental, available to residents, staff, community, family. And Royal Oaks has been in partnership with Midwestern Dental since 2010. The art program that the foundation funded, certainly a needed project. Foundation was happy to do, and we get tremendous response. Even family and guests will comment on how pretty it is, and so that's amazing. The Rose Garden. A valuable foundation funding was our auditorium audio visual upgrade. And maybe that will take away pretty soon the shaking of the mic. But no, it's wonderful. And again, easy to see that benefits us all. The hearing loop here in the auditorium was funded by our foundation. The Vita Center, wow, does not take a lot to understand how truly valuable that is, as Claudia told about it. It's going to have all of the wonderful benefits. I won't even name them all, but the therapy pool, just to name one of them, many, and all the providers. And that's exciting for Royal Oaks. And I can certainly tell you that that sets Royal Oaks apart from many life cares. Now, obviously, not all not all foundation projects are big, like the Vita Center dental office. Does that mean the small ones are not as important? Not at all. Remember that requirement if it enhances or touches lives of residents or staff. So I want to give you a few examples that aren't the big ones, but oh my, are they also important. The foundation funded paying for touchscreen monitors in the Friendship House and the Care Center. And I have to tell you how touched I was in talking to folks at the Friendship House and how exciting it is for the residents at the Friendship House. They can bring up a map on this touch monitor and they will take it to where they used to live. Oh, I used to live there. That's where my neighbor used to live, and they're able to touch it. Same in the Care Center. So that is an amazing and obviously so beneficial. Wood, for the wood shop group, so they could build desks for our employees' children. The foundation funded new massage tables for the fitness center. Sound absorbing acoustic panels for the fitness center. Sound machine that Claudia mentioned that Shirley Gill and her team use in the Friendship House. Microphones for the chapel. Hearing assist devices for the Care Center. Again, I was touched when I went over to see and look at them, like when they're playing bingo. The resident now who can't hear has that hearing device and they're able to hear and it's touching. Many, many other projects that I don't have time to list. We have a resident who is wonderful at knitting and she knits blankets and they are that and they are amazing. And she makes one for every resident who is 90 years or older. A card group. We have residents maybe who can't get out to get a card, but they want a special card for someone. Our card group makes those cards for them. So you hear me say this a lot, big or small, how it touches the lives of residents. Now, speaking of our residents, Royal Oaks indeed has grateful residents, especially when it comes to thanking our great employees. I want you to hear this amount, which you've heard. $534,263 was donated to the Employee Appreciation Fund. Now, the foundation voted again to pay the payroll taxes for our employees, and that expense was shared by the Board of Trustees. Now, important to emphasize also that all donations to the Employee Appreciation Fund are tax deductible. No minimum, no maximum. And what a loving way to express our gratitude for such a caring staff. Now, you've heard, Claudia, we mentioned the scholarship fund and how great that is. And it can give the employee the lift they need. Now, and the scholarship fund has been expanded to help in their chosen field of study. For instance, an educated person contributing to the world, to the community, to our area in some way, even if that is not here at Royal Oaks, is certainly a great way to use our scholarship funds. Now, some of the funds that are available, obviously employee appreciation, scholarship, art, chapel, library, woodshop, audio visual. Now, you heard me mention and introduce Chuck. Please see Chuck if you would like a list or more detail on each one. And yes, you can make donations to any of those specific funds, which is called a designated donation. And that's important, and we accept them. But I want to also stress to you that making unrestricted donations allows the board of directors to decide where your donation could be best utilized. Good example is the Vita Center, the dental clinic. As I told you last year, Dave and I donated funds for a gift annuity along with other donations. We made it all unrestricted. Now, residents really quite often say, I didn't know, Janice, you could make unrestricted donations, thinking it had to be a designated fund. Yes, you can give to the fund of your choice, but just keep in mind the tremendous value of unrestricted donations. Now, quick financial report. For the fiscal year ending February 28th, 2023, total assets were $24,391,687. Donations were $1,022,946, which includes employee appreciation. Now, our portfolio is directed by Ziegler Capital Management. Assets in our portfolio were $24,503,542, with 78.6 in equities, 14.7% in fixed income, and 6.7 in cash and equivalents. Now, you all, I think, are familiar. I introduced Chuck, and that was a position in January of 2020 that the foundation voted to move forward with, and that is by implementing that Director of Development. And that position is responsible for all fundraising. So Chuck Tholen has been on that job about a year now. Prior to that, Chuck was a residency counselor at our Inspirada Point Marketing Department. So I strongly urge you to meet Chuck. He's anxious to meet you. Ask him questions. Get acquainted with the various ways that you can donate. You've heard all of the funds, gift annuities. Minimum is $5,000. There is no maximum. But Chuck has all of that information, or any of us board members, absolutely free and available. Now, I want to extend my appreciation to all of our board of directors for your support and caring of our residents and staff. And as others have recognized, on behalf of myself and the entire board members, our personal thanks and to Kendra, our CEO, to Gretchen, our COO, and to Carter, our CFO. Their support, their direction, their help, and is amazing and so appreciated. And again, myself, along with all of our board members, want to thank you, Dick, and I mean that sincerely, as president of the Board of Trustees and their entire board. When I came on the board of directors, Carol Bryan, God rest her soul, was president and came to every meeting. When her term was up, Dick was there, and Dick has not missed one board meeting. And Dick, again, thank you for your amazing support. Now, my husband and I, Dave, many of you know him, moved into Royal Oaks December of 2015. As a lot of you have said, we have the peace of mind knowing that whatever we need throughout our lives, as far as care, we've got it here. Royal Oaks is our home. Now, the added bonus is the wonderful and caring residents, our great activities, and of course, as Dave would be the first to tell you, the wonderful food. Now, he can't be here, he's home because our dish is being installed. But as he calls Mark, and a lot of you do, the food dude. And all of our time here, Dave and I now going on our 8th year, I've yet to not ask Mark Schroeder, always, how are you, Mark? You know what his response is? Fantastic, the entire time. So Mark, I don't know if you're here, but we wish you a fantastic retirement. And in closing, I want to thank all of you, and I mean that sincerely, for your donations. You hear me say this a lot, and I don't mean it in any way kiddingly. When I say large or small, we gratefully accept them all. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Janice. This concludes our presentation. Again, I'd like to thank you all for being here in person. I'd like to thank those who are watching on television. It's through your support and cooperative efforts of the Board of Trustees, the Board of Foundation, that Royal Oaks can be the dynamic, caring, gracious community that it is. So thank you again for your attendance, and thank you for your support. We stand adjourned.